for what I says learn today is um putting it all together to make a model. I would say we've already been doing that, but let's do it better this time around. So what are we ought to do? Well, we ought to put everything we've learned so far together to to um everything we've learned together to make up a particular or to make up a um a trade. Now, some of you have already been using all the things learned to make up your own trades prior to this. So this is just our we have to do it class, something like that. So let's start. So let's get started somewhere. Let me drop my phone. If I keep looking at it, to be like this. Um, okay, so what do we have to do? So it's easier to understand the market when we first understand where the market is coming from, where the market is heading to, and everything like properly. Rather, what I'm trying to say is we understand the market more when we have a good top-down analysis of where we are at. So a top-down of where we currently at now in the market. I already used the replay tool to go back a bit. So currently, what we're trying to view is how this market can move going forward. Now, from whatsoever rejection that was occurring in this zone, we could easily identify the fact that there was a monthly FVG here. Now, in that monthly FVG, we have a weekly FVG beside of it, with one already mitigated here. So this one serving more as an inducement, and this one being a new FVG. Now, why this one? Why am I calling it an inducement? This one was mitigated already. That's what created the movement to the upside here. That's what created the movement to the upside here. But then when all these rejections and sell moves were occurring from here, people must have tried selling here, buying here. And I would have also been part of those people. I think I'm also part of those people that tried buying here. The problem with buying here is not that it's the worst thing you can do, but because one, market, even no matter how quickly it buys, also needs to fill back its inefficiencies, right? That's one. Two, the monthly does not allow for us to but just start buying here. So we have to be looking at every other time frame and not just the one we want to see on the daily and hour. So the monthly FVG started here and it ended here, while the weekly FVG started here and ended here. So the weekly became the more refined version of the monthly. Now, usually, only thing I use is weekly, but then from time to time, like every new month, you should try and be checking like what the last month had available or prior. So then you now continue again with weekly, and then you now be going further from weekly to stuff like the oh, let's see what's the now from where we are at in the market currently, for us to really have entries moving forward, we just have to identify what's happening. So this is the daily time frame on this price action. And we can see the rejection that has already occurred here. Now, before any other thing, I would like to see if it closed as this rejection. It did. So let's go back. Now, this rejection now, if it's rejected and closed bullish, it's easier to tell. And from the last daily candle we saw, so that they eventually closed. That is when we tried playing the system, so that it eventually closed as an engulfing pattern here. And it should have been easier to know our next entry type from there. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that in this type of strategy here, you start to realize that like everything matters. You get, and sometimes even I forget that like for the past few weeks I've been going through something. So most of my trades haven't been particularly good, especially since the fact that the price action isn't really how I expected it to be. Doesn't mean that the strategy doesn't work. It just means that it requires more patience, and I've not been mentally there for the past few weeks. But that doesn't mean you won't show up like every day, right? It happens to everybody, at least almost everybody. So the part here is that I might be getting better trades on GPY for now, but then I just rather trade gold. You get, so I might see one nice GPY. So maybe even after this, maybe we'll just backtest on GPY small. So it's to know what's happening in the moment, so now know what's going to happen later, rather than what you'd expect to happen. Um, let's go forward. So we're here. Let's go down to 4 hour. So the day rejected closed well as a rejection, and the day here is Thursday. So let's see if we can find something. This big denominator. So this is a new day, Friday, 7 o'clock. Two very useless days in the week are actually Friday and Monday. They're not very useless, but if you're not careful, either one can burn you quickly. For instance, if you see this price action now, you'd want to kind of wait for them here in uncertainty if it's even going to trigger. Because it's like engineering liquidity here. So the things I think you should really focus your eyes on are like if you want to read trades on stuff to get better, I feel engineered liquidity, like engineering liquidity. Um, okay, one is engineering liquidity, another is reaction zones. Um, that's the same thing that I think if you want that one, you can read trades from who has a thread of now. I know this guy has been posting about his nonsense. Kelvin Billions or Kelvin Graph. I can't remember which one it is now, but I know he keeps changing it. That's why I don't remember. And another thread you should also put your focus on would be on FVGs. Now I teach FVGs too, right? But in my own understanding, and that person's understanding, I feel like if you want, this is just threads. You don't have to go and be stopping anybody for their mentorship or anything, unless you want to, though. I'm not against it. I'm just saying, you just want it simple. I'm just putting it in a way that you understand that the market is so diverse and you can't really have one way, right? But if you want to have the best of ways, you have to meet people that are like really good at it too. So you can also watch Jaden's videos on FVGs. It's not far apart from what I've taught you, but he sticks more to a particular way to trade them, right? It's actually the same way I taught it, but let's just say when you see it from a particular person's way, it's repeatedly, you get used to it. I don't think I have a problem. Names are not what we call. This is what I told you. This is why Friday is very useless. No, it should have been a good opportunity. And network went too fast here. So in daily time frame, They were reacting from the daily high here. So let's go back to 4 hour, the 1 hour, and 30 minutes. So we can see on 30 minutes what was happening here. Now we have the 30 minutes average here. Now for engulfment or rejections, like if you want a time frame that where you see the rejection, you can say, it's not the best, but it's something, especially when you're looking at a zone that has possible reaction, like this one now, like this zone here now, could have served as a form of like breaker block or flip zone from all the things that we've taught, right? But then you're not sure if this was everything. 15 minutes and 30 minutes hold, like for me, I feel like they hold the best reaction candles. So if we were to look for an entry now, we could find somewhere here. That's one of my friends. Let's check 15 minutes. And day I say it's 15 minutes rejection here, and then it's 15 minutes engulfment here, rejection here, engulfment here. So if we're to see continuation of like the engulfments moving forward, you could take the risk and buy in here, right? Everything depends on time frame. Let's say we're on 1 minute or 5 minutes. That thing will look more scary. So basically, all just treated was just engulfment here. From this reaction self, it would have been much better self. Just know what you're looking for. And the only reason why it's held is because they've already come into most part of this every year. 50% of it. Jaden would have entered somewhere here if you wanted to take the risk. You could enter here because you already understand other things other than just an FVG. It really depends on you at the end of the day. It's just being able to identify all these things, or sometimes knowing all of it can be overwhelming. So, but it's better than not knowing it at all. Now pick what makes you better. So let's keep observing. Feels good to get it done. So one thing I've noticed about this market is that sometimes, yeah, after whenever they are on a moving range, they do this thing repeatedly. FVG reaction, then later they'll come and do liquidity reactions. So that my FVG reactions and liquidity reaction. When you look at this looks more like a continuation entry cut. We caught a continuation entry. This is also a continuation entry, but the difference here is it is using range liquidity here, or we're using range liquidity here. Now, let's now see something. One thing I've not understood about this range liquidity here is that it always somehow finds a way to align itself with either doing it as order flow on higher time frames like 4 hour or daily, or or it comes back, or it does it more as what do you call this shit again? How am I going to say? Order flow, order flow, or yeah, average, like I said. So it's mostly between these things now. Yeah. So right now we're seeing ranged liquidity here. It uses large range low liquidity and reacted from it. So it kind of like continues, kind of the same continuation here. The difference here is that an FVG was not available to work as much as it worked here. All right. So this particular pattern has played itself plenty times before. This particular one, exactly the same. Don't try since yesterday. Today, I hope it does that. At the end of the day, sometimes yesterday, today, I hope it does that. At the end of the day, I'm just looking for re-entry opportunity. I'm not even seeing what's time here for it. This would have been good, sha, but even after opening that deal, it's still did not come down. The only available pullback that I'm seeing, a valid pullback I see, is this guy. If you look where you see that these sales were only trying to just make retracements. There was even like retracement for the buyers. They weren't even giving enough opportunity. They just do one small thing, for do one small thing, for they just kept on doing. It's not really even looking easy to catch unless when you're just looking at the day. So this is the last range low for this most recent. This is like liquidity that it's okay. CAVGA, 4 hour IVGA, all mitigated. It now got mitigated. We now have rejection. Yeah. And if you notice here, after when I've checked those weekly, daily, and all this kind of thing, aside the fact that we have to be fast while doing this back test, it's now like it's easier to not go back to that time frame. I don't know if that makes sense. It just makes it easier to not go back to that time frame. This was like the inducement of or the recent range of this whole sort of kind of main thing for them was just to just take out any draw of liquidity. But yeah, just that I think because yeah, they got to 50% here. I guess that's the most important thing for them at the moment. Let me see if it has 15 minutes LBG or 30. I don't think it has any. It doesn't look like an LBG anymore. We'll have 30 minutes rejection. So let's see if it continues. It didn't continue like that. Oh, it did. Okay. Okay. Now we're targeting the highest. Yeah. Now the easiest thing to do is to draw things. Well, we have to have reasons to target this high. So what's the reason for targeting this high now? Okay. Let me check this close. As me here repeated. Obi-Wan, come and answer the question for us. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I can hear you now. What's the question? Sorry.
First is why we're targeting this high? Why can't we target this high? Are we going to why are we trying to buy all the way to the top here? Is aside our entry and SL and everything, is it valid to try and target this high? Should we stop here? Should we stop at this imbalance? Give reasons.
Okay, the reason why I think you are targeting that high is because of is the range high. So price wants to seek the way up there to to
Mm,
clear the range.
that's one. I feel like there's a better reason. Like that's a good reason. But if you check today's price action, something like this happened again, but in a smaller frame. It didn't, although they didn't take any drop here. Something exactly like this happened. So I want to now give that reason because I was also caught up in it. But then, yeah, you're right, but not entirely right. Because how do we know we're meant to start buying all of a sudden, right? What if after this rejection, if you check weekly time frame now, after this rejection here, we we closed bearish kind of, right? Am I right? I think so. Yeah, we closed bearish on the weekly here. So what do you think is the reason why trying to buy here now might not fail aside range high? Because range high can be anything. You're basically just trying to say we're meant to break structure, which is not wrong, but it's not about that only at least.
No idea, actually. No idea.
No idea. I'll answer shortly. Let me see if Riley can answer the question I'm trying to ask. We have like 6 more minutes to go. Riley, I don't know if you're online or if you're just there for fun.
There for food. Yes, I'm here actually. Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hey, can you answer the question though?
What was the question again? I actually stepped out for a bit.
Um, Answer a boring age. So
No,
the reason the question I asked is why should we be targeting this range high? What's going to make us so sure that they're going to take off this high? Why should why are we buying? Like what's making the buy is going to like come here or here? Like why?
okay.
Why should we
Uh,
be sure for buys on this range?
the FVG on the higher time frame um is a good start. There was a good rejection of it from what I'm seeing from 30-minute time frame that were on. It also retraced into the discount zone, so that's a good confirmation. And
Like
that high is a
if it
good
was
target for
selling, if
me.
it was selling, it's also retracing to a good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just discount. So, but carry on. You're
There's
somewhere.
also that inducement, yes. There's also the inducement. Those like lows, is it two or be three lows that are there
If
that
we're
is
selling from here,
complementing the
if
FVG.
we're selling from here, here, all this
Mm-hmm.
liquidity. So this investment will be magic. What else?
Um,
Like I'm being
the
honest now. If we're selling, me and you know all these things here will turn to
yeah,
dust.
yeah,
All of them will look like
it'll be
inducement. So
dust.
imagine trying to catch inducement and trying to buy each time, but they were just selling. You'd fail now.
Hmm, that's true, Sha.
If you can't catch
What
it,
else? What else will I use to accompany this weird bias now?
try,
On
try, try.
strong for
If you check safe, this 4 hour safe was trying to reject from here.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even this 4 hour safe can fail because this one wants to sell. So what will make you want to carry on? Don't worry. That's our next time. Let me because we just have 3 minutes and I'll send another link. So I just want this one to enter inside this particular class. So now,
Okay, no.
what's going to happen is I think in the last class I talked about trends and trend breakouts. One we have is trend breakout. Second thing we have is that if you look well, the sell pattern used here did not give valid liquidity for us to come back here and resell. There's no reselling opportunity here. There's no reselling opportunity here. The 4-hour FVG, yes, gave us rejection. The trend originally is bullish because of the weekly FVG from here. So we're targeting the range high, correct? But just because we do not want to get caught up in a different idea of the market, right? Because we could decide to buy from here and target all the way here and fail. Why would we fail? Because when the second or next opportunity or next range is forming itself to create a buy, we might not be able to catch that buy properly because of our target was either overextended, so maybe we got stuck up in the market. So we might not be able to catch that final high. That's what I was trying to say. Change to 1 hour. So from here now, I can see that they are consolidating in this manner. Consolidated. Now, we've long broken out of trend from here, right? I clearly see that. This is only available in this man's zone here. If it's that we check from this high and has not been broken. So they came back, sink liquidity here, and then self-forming things here. So if I want to re-entry, I might try MC4. It's not bad, I guess. If it comes down there, this high too is not bad. Yeah, see, they took the high. This zone was actually good. Now, sake of liquidity again, would notice this is about to end in less than a minute. So we notice that this is the range low liquidity here. So this same range liquidity, let's watch them come there and expect a reaction from them. It's not playing. I guess my network was this time is weird.